Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to a new week of science. We're going to move on to something new. And as we do, I can't stress to you enough that you need to be watching all of the videos this week. Every day, you're going to be learning something new. So do not skip the videos. I'm actually just kind of begging you because what we're about to do can be challenging and involves math for some of you people who don't love math as much as you like science, but remember they go together, so you can't avoid it. I will make it extremely easy for you, as I always do, but you must watch the videos. Must watch the videos. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do this week is we're going to learn about calculating the speed of an object. Now, remember, our unit is called force and motion. And we spent the past 3 weeks learning and practicing and studying about how something with more mass requires more force to accelerate. And so we've been playing around with Newton's laws to kind of get an idea of how much force and mass are needed in order to make things move. So that leads us on to the motion part of everything. And one of the things that you have to think about when you're talking about the motion is the speed that something travels. We kind of have already talked about when you apply more force to something, you get more acceleration. That means more speed in many cases. All right. And so calculating the speed of something kind of just flows from what we've been doing. All right, in order to calculate the speed of something, you have to know two different things. You have to know the distance and the time. So you kind of already have an idea about this from just your regular life. When you look at speed limit signs when you're traveling on the road with your parents, you very often see signs like this one right over here, speed limit 55. But I also found this one that down at the bottom says MPH on it. And if you think about it, that's something you probably know what it means because you just naturally say it. If I ask you what the speed limit is, you would say 50 miles per hour. And the reason that you would say miles per hour is because to know the speed, you have to use the distance, miles, and the time, hour. So let's go and take a peek at the speed formula. Speed equals distance divided by time. But let's also go over to my handy dandy paper. All right. To find the speed, you have to have the distance and you have to have the time. And when you're looking at a speed limit sign, it already has in your mind, or sometimes written on there, miles, which is a unit of distance, per hour, which is a unit of time. That per part right there just simply means the number of miles that you travel in an hour. All right, so per is kind of like a way of comparing, or yeah, saying really in. All right, so the speed formula looks like this. A real scientist would write it with an S like that, and then the equal sign, speed equals distance, and usually you write it with a fancy little lowercase d, and then a little fancy lowercase t, distance divided by time. Now, in your math class, you already have learned this year that a fraction is the same as a division problem. You know that because when you are changing an improper fraction, like 13/6, into a mixed number, you have to do 13 divided by 6, which is 2, and that's 12 and 1. So that gives you 2 and 1/6. So it's easy to see when you think about fractions that the fraction looking division problem is the same as an actual division problem. And in science, we don't usually write our formulas like this anymore, right? We write it like a fraction. All right, so speed equals distance divided by time. Now let's look at a sample problem to see what it would look like and to show you that it can be very easy. We're going to work on some pretty simple problems. All right, and view and present, and let's take a look at the first problem. All right, this one says a car traveled 420 kilometers So kilometers, is that measuring distance or is that time? Would I say it's been, 420 kilometers since I've been in school, right? That would make no sense. All right, but I would say if I was far away, my school's 420 kilometers away. Kilometers is the distance. And then look, 7 hours. Could you say, yeah, I've been in school for 7 hours? Or now we probably all wish we'd been in school for 7 hours. All right, so here's our distance and here's our time 420 kilometers and 7 hours. So let's go back and fill that into the formula. All right, if the formula is speed equals distance divided by time, right? And if I go back and look, it was 420 kilometers, correct? Divided by 7 hours. Then it would be 420 kilometers divided by 7. So 7, yeah, 7 hours. All right, and now all I have to do is do my math. I can probably do mental math for this because I know that 6 times 7 is 42. So 7 times 60 would be 420. But in science class, it's okay to use a calculator if you kind of having trouble with any division. And it's also okay to write it out if you're not that amazing yet with mental math. So 420 divided by 7. 7 times 6 is 42. Bring it down, bring it down. There's nothing left. So I know that my speed, and remember, as always in math, make sure that you know the question. What was the car's speed? So, right? So I can go back over to my paper and I can say, because it's like a fraction, right? Kilometers per hour. I would go 60 kilometers per hour. All right. And I would also want you to kind of think about what that means. That literally means that at that person driving at that rate, they would go 60 kilometers in 1 hour. So have you ever bothered your parents on a road trip by saying, how much longer? How much longer? Well, I eventually learned to do it in my head so I wouldn't have to bother my parents. I would look at the sign as when it came up to see how many more miles it was to the place that we were going, right? And say, let's say we were going someplace that was 60 miles away. When I saw the green sign, I saw we were 60 miles away. Then I would look at my mom or my dad's speedometer, and if they were going 60 miles an hour, I knew we would be there in about 1 hour. So I could start to figure out how long it would take to get someplace and quit bothering my parents so much in the car. Remember, science is life, life is science, and you can use what you know to help you out. So let's say that you were trying to go someplace that was 120 miles away. The green sign that you passed says 120 miles, and your parents were going 60 miles per hour. 60 in 1 hour, 60 in another hour would give you 120. So you know you're about 2 hours away from where you're going if the speed stays the same. Just a handy little trick to use so that you don't have to go, when will we be there? And make your parents crazy in the car. All right, now let's go to the next question. And it says, Anna ran 100 meters in 20 seconds. All right, so now hopefully you're beginning to look at the problem and see the distance and also see the time. You got it? What's the distance? 100 meters, and the time is 20 seconds. So I'm going to be dividing 100 by 20. All right, I'm going to go set up my problem on my paper. Some of you already did it in your head, I know. All right, so speed equals distance divided by time. My distance was 100 meters. So let's go back over and say 100 meters. And my time, because I have an old lady brain, was 20 seconds. 100 meters divided by 20 seconds, right? So I'm just doing 100 divided by 20. 20 won't go into 10, so no, I'll go over here to 100. 20 times, 2 times 5 is 10. 20 times 5. So 5 times 0, 2 times 5, 100. All right, so wait, we're going 5 what? All right, so I know that it's 5 for my speed, but 5 what? I don't know. Look, 5 meters, like a meter stick, in every second. So whatever this is traveling 5 meter sticks in 1 second. All right, and let's see if that answer is there. and 5 meters per second. It would be B. Yay! All right, let's go to the next question. The next question says a group of fifth graders left school at 8 a.m. on a field trip to a science museum 90 miles away. Now, this one's a bit harder, so let's do it. They left at 8 o'clock a.m. And how far away was the museum? The museum was 90 miles away, so I know we traveled 90 miles. That's probably our distance. I think on this one there's a two-stepper, and I have to figure out how much time it was, but let's see. It says, which best describes the average speed of the bus if they arrived at the museum at 10 a.m.? All right, so let's go back and look. They left at 8 a.m. and they got there at 10 a.m. So, how long, what was the time that it took from 8 up to 10? How many hours was it? 8, 9, 10. So, I think that our time would be 2 hours. You see why? Because from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock is 2 hours, and that's our time. So now I know speed equals distance divided by time. It's 90 divided by 2. 2 goes into 9 4 times. 4, 8, good, 1, 0, 5, 0. All right, so it's 45, but I never can forget my units. 45 miles per hour. Miles per hour. Or I could do miles per hour like that. Either way, and that's fine. All right, so what I'm going to do for your work today is probably just give you a couple questions in a Google form, and you just have to answer those. And that's it. I hope you found this pretty easy, and I'll be talking to you soon. Love you lots.